want to tell you today about Janelle's journey to Easter Seals. She would not be where she is today without the patience, guidance, and support of her therapist from the Early Learning Institute. I'm sorry. Aside from the first 12 weeks of morning, noon, and night sickness, my pregnancy was very typical. After my doctor quoted us the odds of having a child with special needs, we opted not to have genetic testing done. We loved her so much already that it didn't matter if she had special needs. And standing here today, I can tell you it still doesn't matter. If it's possible, we love Janelle more for the challenges that she faces every day. There are so many details and dates of appointments that I could tell you about, but I'll leave it at this. Janelle was born at 39 weeks via C-section, and when she was 12 hours old, she quit breathing. She was immediately transferred from Mercy Hospital to the Children's Hospital NICU in Oakland, where she would receive more specialized care. 10 days later, we were finally able to bring her home, and everything was wonderful. Several times during her first 6 months, I expressed concerns to my pediatrician. She wasn't doing things that a typical child of her age was doing, and I was told that at birth, her characteristics were that of a baby closer to 37 weeks, so she would catch up. It would just take a while. Finally, at 9 months, I contacted the Alliance for Infant and Toddlers because Janelle still was not anywhere near children her own age that they were doing. TELI sent Kay Donovan, a physical therapist, to our home to evaluate Janelle, and she was significantly delayed. And Kay began coming weekly to our home to work with Janelle. And every week, I took with Janelle what Kay taught me, and I worked with Janelle until Kay's next session. When Kay came into our home, she also came into our hearts. She has done so much more than just be a physical therapist to Janelle. Kay suggested that Janelle have a barium cookie swallow done, and the results were astonishing. Janelle had been aspirating 1 out of every 3 swallows into her lungs of thin liquids. And on June 29, 2009, at 11 months old, Janelle was diagnosed failure to thrive. She was not gaining weight, she was not getting taller, she was just existing. The following 2 weeks were a flurry of doctor's appointments, tests, and tears. What I didn't understand, Kay would interpret. What we were frustrated over, Kay was the voice of reason. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Kay became as invested in Janelle as we were. Due to the number of doctor's appointments and doctors that we were seeing, Janelle's social interaction was non-existent. Every person we met in the store, my family member, she would cry at. She did not want to socialize with anyone. And Kay suggested that we take Janelle to TELI's Social Butterfly program, which is a program for children 18 months to 3 years old that moms can bring their children to and they can have social interaction. Week after week, Janelle would cry less and less, and our confidence grew each week. And the week that Janelle stood up, pushed herself to standing by herself from my lap, was one of the best days up to that point. Kay was the first person I called when we left Social Butterflies that week. It wasn't long before Janelle required an occupational therapist due to her aspiration. And Rose McNeely, another TELI therapist, came into our home and into our lives. Rose calmed our fears about Janelle's choking and her aspiration, and she encouraged us to try new textures and consistencies with her. She was at our home the first day we introduced Janelle's peanut butter pie, her favorite dessert. I think Janelle would live on peanut butter pie if we let her. Janelle's fine motor skills were also delayed, and Rose brought new ideas, new toys, new crafts to our home, new suggestions for us to try to work with Janelle's fine motor skills. And obviously, naturally, when a child is delayed, their speech is delayed. And Kay and Rose knew the perfect speech therapist for Janelle. Her name was Terry, a brand new mom when she came to our home, and her name was Terry Chase. She started by bringing me sign language books. And when that didn't work, when Janelle was not responding to sign language, she brought us a communication board. And on that communication board, it was filled with pictures of things familiar to Janelle. We would give her choices between Elmo and the Wiggles, and she would pick which one she would watch for the day. She had her sippy cup or a picture of a spoon, and she would be able to tell us then whether she wanted a drink or something to eat. All of these ideas made Janelle more independent in their own way, or in her own way. When the time came for Janelle to take the next steps in her education, we relied greatly on Kay, Rose, and Terry's opinions and their experiences. They guided us through finding the right school for Janelle. At the time, I couldn't imagine anyone else working with Janelle. I couldn't imagine her responding to anyone like she did with her TELI therapist. But she did, and because of them, Janelle's transition from early intervention to the Easter Seals program has been much easier for Janelle and our family. Together with Kay, Rose, and Terry, we have celebrated all of Janelle's successes, big and small. I let them know when good things happen at school. Like on Monday, Janelle walked 5 feet in her assisted walker back to her classroom on her own, and they all knew about it immediately. We don't know what the future holds for Janelle, but what we do know is that through TELI and their services, Janelle has 3 lifelong supporters with Rose, Terry, and Kay.